Hello guys, I am Ninjapan. This YouTube is for the people who want to work in Japan, and I have 15 years experiences of HR. So I'm really happy to support you by this YouTube. So let's move to today's topic. Here we go. Okay, let's get started. Today's topic is Japanese language level for work. As I am a HR person, I conducted a lot of interviews, and of course, I have many candidates who try to speak Japanese for work, but there are some candidates can utilize their Japanese skills for work, but the others cannot because of their level. So I'd like to show how much level is needed for Japanese work. And today's general topics are three, and one is the definition of Japanese language level. Second is the level for work in Japan. How much is needed actually? And finally, if your Japanese level is lower, you think, than the requirement for a job you want, what you should do in order to get the job. Okay, let's start it. And firstly is the definition of Japanese language level. I use JLPT, and this is Japanese language proficient test. It's like TOEIC. So in many cases, Japanese HR use this score to judge the Japanese level of the candidates for the interview. It should be useful to explain how much level is good or not. Okay, let's explain the specific level of JLPT. The bottom level is from N5 to N4. So this is, okay, this level is to understand the basic Japanese language. So this is just basic. It means just understanding base vocabulary like Ohayo or Konnichiwa. It's just greeting. So it might be hard to communicate in Japanese language. So it might be hard to communicate with other people in Japanese language. So just understand what is written or what the person say in Japanese as casual or as easy way. The next level is from N3 to N2. It means the person can use the Japanese language for the daily life, like are kudasai, or like when you go to shopping, you can say kore kudasai. It's Japanese. Can I try it on? I will take it. As the person who has the score N3 to N2, the person can say those words. It might be enough to just live in Japan, but work requires higher level. It's a harsh reality. And the next one, its final one, is N1. It's the highest level. The level means the person who has N1 level is recognized as fluent using Japanese. The level shows the N1 person can understand broad and complex meaning of Japanese. So the person who obtained N1 skill can read newspaper or understand the complex news in Japanese language. It is called by many people. However, is it true? For me, it's hard to say it's true. I will explain the reason why I said. Okay, as an HR person, I will explain the level for work in Japan. First of all, I use the level of JD in Japan. In many JDs, it's written in requirements of Japanese skill, from no words to casual or basic to business level, and finally fluent. I will explain how much you need in order to match this level. Okay, firstly, nothing written about Japanese level in JD, which means no need to use Japanese in the office, or just greeting is enough, like hello, ohayo, it's enough. I think the company which shows this JD does not require Japanese skills in their business. For example, like there are only foreign people in the office, so the common language is English. If you find this JD, it's very lucky because it's rare case in Japan. And second level is casual or basic, so which means ranging from N3 to N2, I think, but close to N2. So if you get N3 or N2, you can apply to the casual or basic level JD. The next is business level. Maybe you often see this level of JD in job sites or in agents' recommendation for Japanese work. Honestly, business level requires N1 level, but needs an additional skill, not only just language. Business level needs reading the between line or background like that. It's the kind of Japanese culture. If you work for a Japanese company, you should understand the atmosphere of Japanese people, because Japanese language depends on high context. So just knowing words is not enough. You should catch the information behind the background or behind something. It's really hard. I think this level is harder than you thought. And the final level is fluent. Fluent is difficult for even Japanese people, I think. For the requirement of fluent, it's hard to prove your Japanese skill without business experiences, because this level expects you to work in Japanese company without trouble. So you need to show you are no problem to work for Japanese company. That's why business experiences in Japanese office should be needed. So unfortunately, N1 certification is not enough for this level, fluent level of JD. Okay, these are explanation for Japanese language level of work. If you do not have the enough language skill, what would you do? I hope you do not give up to find a job in Japan, because I'm really happy foreigners to come to Japan and work and find a happiness in my country. So I will recommend what you should do when you think your Japanese level is lower than the requirement for a job you want. Right, let me explain the tips in order to find a job with lower Japanese skill. The point is to compensate for the gap by other skills. Of course, HR Japanese do not judge your skill or do not judge your possibilities by only Japanese language skill. For example, if you are engineer, you have good programming skills, it should be fine to work in Japanese company. Of course, designers as well. We decide whether the candidate can efficiently work or not with many perspectives. So if you have GitHub or something to prove your other skills, you should make that portfolio richer than now. Or please use Japanese agent to support to prove your Japanese skill. I think when your Japanese language is not good, it's harder to prove your Japanese skill by only yourself. If you prove that skill, I think your Japanese level is enough to work for Japanese company. So please find the person who can support you. And I think the agent should be the right person to support you because of their business. And they know how to prove it much more than you. There are a lot of ways to find a job in Japan with not enough Japanese skill. All right, this is the end of today's topic. Thank you for listening to my YouTube. If you get useful information from this YouTube, please put like or register my channel. I'm looking forward to meeting you next YouTube. Bye bye.